The iPhone 16 lineup just received a major shakeup with the introduction of a brand new member of the family, the iPhone 16e. And now with 5 total models in the iPhone 16 lineup, with all phones having an A18 chip, a 48 megapixel camera system, your decision on what phone you should buy is more confusing than it should be. Well, lucky for you, you stumbled across this video and found yourself an Apple nerd that can walk you through the buying process to discuss important features like battery life, the camera, display specs, performance, and other different features to find which iPhone model you should buy and which one you should skip. And don't worry, by the end of this video, you'll be as smart as I am, so not much smarter, but you'll know a little bit more about iPhones. All right, let's not waste any time and let's go over the physical size and design differences between these phones. The iPhone 16e and iPhone 16 are the closest in design and overall feel because they both come with a 6.1-inch display and aluminum sides and a glass back, so they are very lightweight but very durable phones. The Pro models, on the other hand, are made with titanium instead of aluminum, and that looks more polished and more premium. However, it also increases the weight of the Pro phones. Now, on paper, it's only about a 20-gram difference, but when we're talking about phones, that's actually a 15% reduction in the iPhone's overall weight, and you can definitely tell the iPhone 16 and 16e feel lighter in the hand. Besides weight, the Pro models are also physically bigger than the regular 16 and 16e models. That's because the regular size Pro packs in a bigger 6.3-inch display, while the Pro Max has a massive 6.9-inch display. That is 0.2 inches bigger than the 16 and 16 Plus. All iPhone 16s have now replaced the mute switch with the new action button. This button allows you to quickly customize commands like activating the flashlight, the camera, or other apps. The 16e is missing a button though. It does not get the new camera control button, which is a dedicated button found on the 16 and 16 Pro, which allows you to quickly open the camera and even lets you control camera settings like zooming in and out directly just by using that button. One great thing about the iPhone 16 lineup is that every iPhone now has an OLED display, but they are all different OLED displays. First of all, the iPhone 16e, even though it removes the home button and gets Face ID, it does not have the dynamic island, which is really useful for showing information like your Uber Eats order, your timers, or quickly controlling other apps in the background like your music playback. If you want that, you have to buy an iPhone 16 or a 16 Pro. Furthermore, the iPhone 16e also has a less bright display. It can only max out at 800 nits, while technically the iPhone 16 and 16e can max out at 2000 nits for outdoor use. So that really means that in bright sunlight, it will be more easy to view the display on the 16 or 16 Pro, and even HDR video looks better on the higher end phones. However, out of all the models, the 16 Pro has the best display by far. Not only does it have the extra brightness, but it also has an always-on 120 Hz ProMotion display. Basically, this allows your phone display to stay on instead of fading to a black screen, so you can see information at a glance, like the time and date or your notifications. The 120 Hz display means that the refresh rate is faster. If you don't know what refresh rate is, it basically means that the screen looks smoother and less blurry when you're scrolling. It also means you get smoother looking gameplay if that game is running at a faster frame rate. Now, when it comes to performance, one thing I love about every iPhone 16 model is that they all come with an A18 chip and they all have the same CPU performance. These are some of, if not the fastest phones available on the market today, and even the iPhone 16e at the $600 price point is faster than any other phone you can buy on the market today for that same price. It also means that every iPhone 16 comes with the latest Apple Intelligence features, and every iPhone 16 model comes with 8 gigabytes of memory, so apps stay open longer in the background, and the operating system is much smoother than older models. It also means that all of these phones should receive the same number of software updates down the road. Now, even though these A18 chips are similar in performance, they aren't exactly the same. That's because the GPU performance is different on all of them, because the A18 and the 16e only comes with 4 GPU cores. The regular 16 and the 16 Plus come with 5 GPU cores, and you guessed it, the 16 Pro and Pro Max come with 6 GPU cores. I almost forgot how to use my fingers there. Now, this should really only affect your purchasing decision if you are an avid iPhone gamer and you are playing more demanding games at higher settings. So if you're a casual iPhone gamer, don't worry about it. But if you're into Gooner games like Genshin Impact or Zenless Zone Zero, the iPhone 16 or 16 Pro should run those games smoother. And if you're into non-Gooner games like Resident Evil 4 Remake or Death Stranding, actual real games that have a story and an ending, and you're not just buying endless skins over and over. Yeah, I'm targeting a very select audience here. These games will run best on the iPhone 16 Pro. Now, while the 16e might not have the best gaming performance compared to the rest of the lineup, it has something more important to most users. And pay attention here, because for the normal sized iPhone models, the 16e, the cheapest iPhone in the lineup, has the best battery life. Yes, thanks to a number of factors, including Apple's new C1 modem, which is more energy efficient than the Qualcomm modems found in the 16 and 16 Pro, and the redesigned internals of the 16e, which allow for a bigger battery. If you look at the official tech specs, you'll see two interesting battery life figures. The one that Apple uses in marketing is the video playback rating, which Apple measures by playing a downloaded video continuously on the iPhone. And you can see that the 16e actually has 4 hours better battery life than the more expensive 16. However, compared to the Pro model, you'll see that the rating is 1 hour less on the 16e. But this figure is a little misleading, considering the Pro models have a ProMotion display, which, as I told you before, has an adaptive refresh rate. So besides higher the refresh rate, it can also lower the refresh rate below 60 Hz. And if you look at the audio playback rating, you'll actually see that the 16e has better battery life than the Pro model by about 5 hours. What this means is that technically the Pro model is more efficient at playing video, but in terms of total battery capacity, the 16e has more. So for mixed usage, it should have better battery life compared to the 16 Pro. If you're not just playing video constantly back, I don't think most people do that on their iPhone, I think the 16e is going to win out. And that makes the new iPhone 16e the battery life champion for the non-Plus and Pro Max models. However, if you do want a bigger iPhone, stepping up to the Plus model will get you better battery life, but it's only 1 hour better than the 16e when watching video and only 5 hours better during audio playback. However, the Pro Max, it does have the best battery life out of any iPhone model thanks to its sheer size, which means it's packing the biggest battery. You'll get about 33 hours of video playback and up to 105 hours of total audio playback. Still, it is impressive just how much the battery has improved on the new 16e model, and I think this might be a sleeper killer feature that has people picking up this phone over the other ones. However, one thing that may have you opting not to pick up a 16e is the camera system, because it only has one camera on the back. Now, yes, this is a 48 megapixel camera system. It is very close in specs to the iPhone 16 model, and it even gets the ability to crop into the sensor to get a 2x zoom mode. That works really well. And the main camera is going to take very detailed pictures, and it's also capable of shooting up to 4K at 60 frames per second. So it is a great camera system, not only for photos, but for videos as well. However, the iPhone 16 just has much more going for it. First of all, even though the main cameras are similar, they are not the same. The iPhone 16 main camera gets better image stabilization, and it also has an action mode which can help stabilize shaky iPhone footage. It also has a second camera lens, which is an ultra-wide angle 12 megapixel camera that can fit much more into the frame, and it also has a macro mode for capturing close-up shots with lots of detail. The second camera also allows for additional features, like shooting spatial video and photos for your Vision Pro. Everyone out there owns a Vision Pro, right? But more importantly, you can get cinematic video mode on this, which you can't get on the 16e, and that can help blur out the background in your videos. The Pro model takes this advantage even further, and I think you can tell just by looking at them, right? So every lens on the Pro model is better. It has a improved main wide-angle camera with a bigger sensor, and it has additional settings like Pro RAW Photo and ProRes Video that basically allows you to capture more information on the sensor that can be utilized later during the editing process. So if you like to color grade your own photos and videos in an editing program, this is a feature where you should highly consider stepping up to a Pro model. However, if you're only making simple edits, don't get me wrong, the normal 16e or iPhone 16 will work just fine. Now, the 16 Pro gets more video recording options too, because it also is capable of shooting 4K at 120 frames per second. And this is a great feature if you actually need faster frame rate footage, because it will also let you slow this footage down during the editing process for highly detailed slow motion shots. The Pro also gets an improved ultra wide angle camera over the regular 16. This is a 48 megapixel sensor that can capture even more detail compared to the 12 megapixel lens found on the normal 16. And to top it all off, the 16 Pro has another additional camera, this time a dedicated 5x telephoto lens, which allows you to zoom in much farther than any of the other iPhone 16 models. The 16 Pro really has the most versatile iPhone camera system, and that even extends to the port situation. Now, all iPhone models have a USB-C port, but only the Pro model has a 10 gigabit per second USB-C port, which allows for faster data transfer speeds when offloading photos or videos onto your computer or another device. It also means that you can utilize faster external storage on the Pro models when shooting video, and the iPhone 16e and iPhone 16 only have USB 2.0 ports, which maxes out at a very slow 480 megabits per second. So while the USB-C on those models is fine for charging or transferring small files, it's also painfully slow when trying to offload a lot of data. Now, while the 16e does get you a lot of the regular iPhone 16 experience, there are other missing features that you wouldn't expect that are available on the regular and Pro models, and some features that have been around for a while. The most jarring to me is the removal of MagSafe. That means the iPhone 16e cannot use MagSafe accessories, and it even means that the wireless charging speed on the 16e is much slower than the other 16 models. Furthermore, the iPhone 16e also lacks some of the latest wireless connectivity. It lacks Wi-Fi 7, it doesn't have Thread support, which makes it communicate faster with smart home accessories, and it even lacks the ultra-wideband chip, so it's not able to precisely locate other Apple items. But those missing features and the other missing features we talked about does come at a price savings. And this is really where you have to make your purchasing decision, because the 16e starts at $600 for 128 gigabytes of storage. It also has two other storage options, 256 gigabytes for $100 more and 512 gigabytes for $300 more. And it comes in two colors, black or white. So pick your favorite. Now listen, I am disappointed with some of the features missing on this phone, but I do think it is a good phone for people that want the iPhone 16 experience at a lower price point. I think this is going to be a very popular model, especially if users don't care about some of the higher end features that the iPhone 16 has to offer. And I think this is going to be the default phone model for parents who are buying one for their kids, and for people that just don't care about some of the higher end features. I think it also wins out on the more important metrics for consumers. Battery life, I know as a tech enthusiast and as an Apple nerd guiding you through this video, it's very easy to look at the lack of features or camera settings and think that this is a bad phone, but for most normal consumers, most of the time, they just want a phone that won't lag, gets software updates, has a good camera, works with all their apps, and lasts them through a busy workday. And like it or not, the iPhone 16e fits that criteria at a better price point than the other 16 models. With that being said, there are still plenty of reasons to step up to the iPhone 16 or 16 Plus. That could be something as simple as MagSafe support, or the dynamic island, the brighter display, or even something as simple as like the really cool colors on this model. And at $800, this is a good choice for most people, and it also has an extra sized option, the iPhone 16 Plus, which has a 6.7-inch display. Now the Plus model is $100 more, it's $899, but it is the cheapest big iPhone. Of course, just like the 16e, the storage size options are the same on the 16, and the price increases for each tier up are the same as well. Now, what about the Pro model? When should you step up to this? Well, I think this phone is really for three different audiences. The first is someone that just wants the best iPhone possible with all the latest innovations and features. That's this, right? The second is someone that can really utilize the camera beyond just the normal daily photos. Like if you can utilize that extra 5x telephoto lens or the extra camera settings, this is a no-brainer upgrade. And the third is someone that really cares about having a better display, whether that's having a faster refresh rate or they just want the biggest display possible. If that sounds like you and you don't mind spending $1,000 for the Pro or $1,200 for the Pro Max, well, this is the phone for you. Now, the regular Pro also starts at 120 gigabytes of storage, but it can be upgraded all the way up to 1 terabyte. The Pro Max starts at 256 gigabytes of storage for that extra $200, and it can also be upgraded all the way to 1 terabyte, maxing out at $1,600. It also comes in natural, black, white, or gold titanium colors, which is less exciting than the 16 colors, but definitely more exciting than the 16e colors. All right. I think I'm missing something because there is one more model on Apple's website that you may have been considering. This is the older iPhone 15, and yes, Apple still sells it for $700. Now, yes, while this does get some nice modern upgrades like the dynamic island and a 2-camera system, I actually think this is the only iPhone from Apple that you should not buy. Compared to the 16e, it is 2 chip generations behind and only has 6 gigabytes of memory. It has worse battery life, and it doesn't even get Apple Intelligence support. Granted, you may not think Apple Intelligence is useful, but listen, what if there is a feature down the road that requires Apple Intelligence, or even something like Siri suddenly getting a massive improvement when the next version of iOS is released? On the 16e, you will get those features. On the iPhone 15, you just won't. And I think that's a really bad bet to make. So if you're really considering buying the 15 because you don't like the 16e and you want some extra features, I would really just recommend spending the extra $100 and just buy the regular iPhone 16. This phone is going to age more gracefully and get more support, more software updates, and trust me, you will be thanking me in the future if you choose to avoid the iPhone 15. All right, but that is my official buyer's guide for the new iPhone 16 lineup. I really hope this video helped you out. I tried to set my bias aside and cover the most important feature differences and just give you the straight facts to help you decide which iPhone is the right model for you. If it did help you out, all I ask is that you give the video a like, and hey, if you want to see this face again, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you, not in the next one, I'll catch you in the comments below.